Hey everyone, and welcome to another lesson in my C++ Basics course. Now, today I'm going to talk about functions a little bit more, and I'm going to show you how to work with functions. I'm probably going to be doing a couple of lessons on this, like I did on my previous integer lessons. So in this first lesson I'm just going to introduce you to some void functions that don't return a value and how you can use them. So far we know that C++ has a main function which is kind of like the brains of it, but you can have loads of other functions as well which can be end up being used in the main. As I said in my first lesson, functions are ways of encapsulating data, so it's more easier to manage. Sorry. So I'm just going to show you how to do functions. For these first couple of functions, they don't return a value. So int is the kind of function that returns a value. So int main returns a value of 0. But in this lesson, I'm just going to show you the void functions, and these functions don't return a value, so there's no need to put a return at the end of them. So you type in void, and when you're typing, when you're working in writing C++, always make sure that the main function is the last one. At least in these lessons, make sure so, because the way the compiler reads it is, it will go down. It reads it from top to bottom. So it will compile all the functions here, all the functions you have here, and then once they're all figured out, you implement these functions in the main code here. Because if you put the main first and then all the other functions, the code's going to run the functions in the main, but they haven't actually been, it doesn't know what they include yet, so it's not going to work very well. It might not make a lot of sense, but I'm going to just write the functions and then I'm going to explain it to you a bit more. So we do void, and then we have to give it a name, and this time it can be any name you want, well, within reason really. So I'm just going to call this one text. Text, open bracket, close bracket. There you go, shows me void text. No need for semicolon when you're declaring functions. So do enter, and then we do open curly bracket to signify that we're opening a function, and then we do a closed curly bracket here. And within this area we're just going to type something. So as you can see now, we have two functions, one main and one function called text. So in this text function, let's just input some text. So I'll go cout. This is a text function. Okay, so here we go, and then end L. So that's the contents of this function now. So it actually does something. It outputs text. But if we were to run this program now, we're going to compile and run it. The function is stored within its memory, but it's not being implemented. So it's just going to show us it's just going to pause the system and ask us to press any key to continue. So here we go, press any key to continue. So what happens is the function is in the memory, but it's not being used. It's not being implemented. So in order to implement it, we will need to declare it in the main function. As I said before, it's the brain of the whole C++. So to declare it, we just type its name. So we just type text, and here we go. Again, showing us here. There's no need to type in void or int, because we're declaring it, and then we just do a semicolon. This time we have to do a semicolon because it's reading it, it's not declaring it. So hopefully when we compile and run it, it should run the main, and then it should run the contents of this function. So we should be getting a text. There you go. This is a text function. So these are some of the basics of void functions without integer values. So just remember to to write your functions before the main one, and then, as you can see, and then declare them in whatever order you want in the main one. And you can do more than one function. You can do void text 2, and and then you can do a function within a function if that's not too confusing. So what we do is we're going to open a bracket, and inside void, let's just put 2 here. There's different. Inside void 2, we can output. Inside text 2, we can output text 1. So text. There you go. It's showing us here like this, and that's inside there now. And what we can do is we can just delete this and put text 2 instead. As you will see, there will be a function within a function if I've done this properly. So compile and run. There you go. You see, it did it. It was a function within a function. Hopefully that's not too confusing. So just play around with these, put some text in here and there, and in the next lesson I'm going to introduce actual functions that return a value. Okay?